Yo, another video, I guess. I can't stand when people talk about God of War, especially in like power scaling settings. I feel like people always are rating God of War as an aspect of Greek mythology itself, rather than like analyzing God of War for its own virtues or for its own like power. So like instead of saying Kratos is strong because he's powerful within the context of God of War, people are instead saying he's strong because Greek mythology, which I don't think is a fair assessment, especially when there's like 20 different series adapting different mythological characters. I mean, on top of my head, I can name, Fate Stay Night that has Hercules in it. You can name Disney Hercules, obviously having Hercules. You can name Record of Ragnarok, again having Hercules, Zeus, Ares. You can name Saint Seiya, having different Greek gods as well. Shin megami tensei, same thing there. You can name tons of series that have Greek gods in them. You can name tons of series that have their own fictionalized versions of like gods. Say Pokemon having Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, Arceus, and you could go Dragon Ball Super having Beerus, uh, Whis, Zeno, Grand Priest. You can name all of that, and it's like I feel like most of those examples, people are arguing the characters to be strong by virtue of their own material. It's only with God of War that people say, this character is strong because of the mythology, rather than it being strong within the context of its own narrative. Which is just unfair. It's like, well, why does God of War get this special treatment where it's the only character or the only iteration that gets to scale to mythology itself? And it's like, it calls back to mythology and it's based on it. I'm like, so is a million other fucking things. It's like, well, it makes direct reference to it. It's like Hercules brought up the Rapers. It's like Hercules brings up the Rapers in every version of the story. Disney Hercules does that, Record of Ragnarok does that, Fate Stay Night does that. And it's like, so if you want to do that, then they all scale to Atlas lifting the world, and they all scale the multiverse level, and so every version of Hercules is now even. It's just, none of these people have a consistent interpretation of the story. They just have a selective interpretation which favors their favorite character. I get it, you like God of War's narrative. That doesn't mean you have to be a dishonest shill. I think Kratos' character is well wrote and well done. That doesn't mean I have to be dishonest and act like he's a multiverse destroyer in every scene he's in, even though that's not consistent with the character. You have scenes where he's struggling with a giant and he's struggling with a temple. He's struggling with a character who's breathing ice at him. He's struggling with, like, breaking ice. Like, it's not consistent with his character to say he's like some multiverse destroyer. I can admit he could throw around people that are gigantic, he could throw around giant statues, but it's showing he has difficulty with that. If Kratos is multiverse level, then why doesn't he fucking throw the damn statue? In God of War 2, like, he's struggling to lift it. It steps on him, he struggles to lift it. So it's like you're not analyzing God of War in the context of God of War. You're analyzing God of War within the context of mythology. And I mean, FYI for your information, I think mythological like Zeus would just solo God of War. And I mean, people are gonna say like Kratos beat Zeus, but that's not the same version of Zeus. The mythological version of Zeus is probably a lot more powerful than the God of War version. I also think the Record of Ragnarok Zeus is a good bit stronger. So, but people don't really like to hear that their favorite verse is weak because it hurts their feelings. It's like saying, you know, Pokemon isn't that strong, but it's a fun anime and game series, and that kind of upsets some people. Just because Dialga's a time god, or just because Kronos is a time god, doesn't necessarily mean they have to be multiverse level. It's like Jiren surpasses time, that doesn't mean he blinks and the universe is destroyed.